Hello. Pardon me. Welcome to God's Grace Zone podcast. This is October 16th, 2019. We are going to do an in-depth study on 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the verses that talks about love, what it is and isn't, what it does and doesn't do. So let's go on ahead and start with verse 4. Let's back up and read verse 3 so that we can dive into verse 4. Even if I dole out all that I have to the poor in providing food, and if I surrender my body to be burned or in order that I may glory, but have not love, God's love in me, I gain nothing. So you can do all kinds of good things, but if you don't show God's love, if you don't act as God's love, then it's nothing. And we can be benevolent and everything, really caring about others, but we've got to show love. We've got to act out in love. So let's go on ahead and see just what love is in deeper depth. Love endures long and is patient and kind. Love never is envious, nor boils over with jealousy, is not boastful or vainglorious, does not display itself haughtily. Now, as I had described, the word haughtily is blatantly and disdainfully proud, having or showing an attitude of superiority and contempt for people or things perceived to be inferior. So we definitely know that love does not act like that. But what about patient? Let's dig a little deeper into patient. Patient, bearing pains or trials calmly or without complaint, manifesting forbearance under provocation or strain, not hasty or impetuous, steadfast despite opposition, difficulty, or adversity. So, okay, let's see what impetuous means. Marked by impulsive, vehemence, or passion. Vehemence. Vehemence. And the meaning of vehemence is intensely emotional and bitterly antagonistic. And looking at antagonistic, showing dislike or opposition. But let's see what forbearing means. To hold one back from, especially with an effort, to control oneself when provoked. So, patience or being patient is a form of forbearing, but it does not behave impetuous or vehemence or is antagonistic. So in other words, patience is just holding on without complaint, just and I know it might seem like it's an impossible thing when we come up against something that seems like it's impossible to show any kind of love. It's impossible to show any kind of patience. It's something that just really we want to antagonize and be angry about and behave with an impetuous and vehemence and all that, but that's not what love does. It's not what love does. It also says that love is kind. Well, kindness is a benevolence. It's doing good or having goodwill, So there is so much depth into this chapter. And I know I kind of stumbled over on impetuous and vehemence and antagonist, but it really is. It's like, impetuous is impulsive, and that's not a good thing, because that means you're not being patient. If you're impetuous, you're not being patient. Impetuous is the opposite of being patient. And having vehemence and being antagonistic, well, that is just the same as kind of being haughtily. Because, being haughty or acting haughtily is looking at things in an inferior way, so when you look at things like that, you end up acting with intense emotional and bitter attitude and showing the dislike and opposition. So, it's just, it does seem difficult sometimes. It does seem difficult sometimes when something comes up in one's face, or when you see something going on and you know that it's wrong, you know that it's not right, or that it doesn't belong or something. So in a position like that, it is really hard to act out in love. But Jesus was in a position like that all the time. When the Pharisees and the Sadducees would come up against him, and they would test him. I mean, he could have so very easily, full of pride and stuff, just showed his full glory to these creeps. Yes, that's right, I said creeps, because the Sadducees and the Pharisees were creeps. They thought that they knew the promises of God that was written on the scrolls, and they didn't even recognize that promise standing right in front of them. He had every right to show every bit of his glory to them. Every right. But instead, he chose not to. But as I had said in another podcast, he also rebuked them. But he rebuked them with righteousness. And he showed love to them when he died on the cross. Because his death on the cross was an act of love to every individual soul that was alive at that time, and for the future of every soul that would ever live. So even though he had rebuked the Pharisees and the Sadducees in front of them, he acted out in love to them when he died on the cross. There is more to be studied here. We haven't even hardly hit the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more. So tomorrow we will continue with, with verse 4. And I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell so that you can be notified of when more is put out. And let's see if we can help others in understanding God's Word in a more passionate and personal way. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.